Hi everyone, we're just in the workshop with a nice old vintage Technics here. I do quite a lot of these machines. It's SL-P990. It's one of the flagship machines from the late 90s. The problem with this machine, as with all of these Technics techs of this age with the SO80 mech, is it's not reading discs. Most people always say it's a laser, but I'll let you in on a little secret. As long as the machine is trying to spin the disc like that, you saw it just slightly move it. I'll just show you again by ejecting it and putting it back in. As long as there's a little slight movement like that, it's nothing to do with your laser. And to be honest, your laser is quite rare failing on these. Now I'll let you in on a little secret spin. And there you go, you see you can read it. But again, if you try to play it, you can hear it struggling. And now what that is on this particular machine is this machine uses a direct drive brushless motor, which is the same on the higher end tape decks and the SL-P1200 Pro deck. The more modern version of this one, the SL-P990, doesn't have this mech, and this is why this deck is so sought after. And basically what it is instead of an actual conventional motor, it's just a load of coils and a flywheel, and the capacitors that supply the voltage to the coils, they fail, like they're doing a lot of Technics stuff as this is age, and all you need to do is replace those caps and it'll all work. And I'll show you where that is in a moment. Just take this disc out. It's actually underneath your spindle. There's a PCB just under there. It's quite easy to get to. We'll just unplug the power. All you need to do is release these two clips to pop the mech off. So we just need to pop this loose, this clip here, and the whole mech will slide up. A bit hard to do one-handed. I'll try and show you. There we go. Always make sure that you're earthed for doing this sort of thing. I've got an earth chain on. We'll talk about lubrication on the laser and rails and everything later, and cleaning out the position sensor, etc. But as things stand, all we're interested in at the moment is getting to this PCB down here. You can probably see the coils from it. So that's what you need to take out. That. Change your capacitor on the back, pop a new one in, and everything will be fine. Now the easiest way to do that is actually just to pop the front piece off first. So you just pull and clip. Never easy with one hand. I just pull the trays out anyway because it's easier. So we just need to take the rest of these little screws out. These are just holding the mech into place. They do have a little rubber absorbing ring on them, which is supposed to help with vibrations, because these machines are quite well made anyway. Just so we can get that into. There you go, you probably hopefully see that reasonably well. So don't lose that, because otherwise your deck won't be insulated as well, isolated as well. And because I've took the tray out, it'll be nice and easy now. The whole mech, we just untangle the wires. This one here is just your motor and sensor cables. Shouldn't need to disconnect that one. And just lift it up off the locking pins. And there we are. Make sure you unconnect the ribbon cable here, because these snap so easily if you leave them in place, because they get so brittle with age. The best thing to do if you can is just disconnect the majority of things. You don't need to disconnect everything, just make sure you've disconnected your ribbon cable. There's also an earthing screw which I forgot about just here, and make sure you get your earthing screw, and then you should be able to flip your mech over. And there's your board. It's a PCB board that we need. It's just these two screws. So I've removed the PCB there. It's not these capacitors we're worried about, it's the surface mount ones here. These need to swap them two over. We can usually get away with just swapping one of them, to be honest. But as you can see, it's just 3 coils and a magnet on the bottom of your spindle there. So that's how it works, and that's what the problem is on these most of the time. Like I say, it's very rare that you see a problem with one of the lasers on these decks. I don't think I've ever actually had a failed laser on one of these ever on the machines. Yeah, they might have needed adjustment in terms of putting them on a scope, and you know the focus is slightly out or anything, but I've never actually had a failed laser. It's always been either something to do with the spindle power or an issue elsewhere in the electronics. So what I'll do is I'll just pop just one of the caps on for the minute, just to show that it makes a difference. So there's just an example of popping the 33 microfarad on. It doesn't have to be pretty for the moment, as long as it's, you know, not touching anything. And I'll change that one in a moment, but this should be enough to get it working, just to prove the point that it's these two that usually cause the problem. So I'll just temporarily put it back together and show you. Back in. So I've just popped the mech back in place, and now I'm just popping the tray back in. It just sits on runners, so you should be able to hook it and slide it in. Okay, so I've got power. Pop a disc in. And there we go. Spins right up and reads it first time. And the beauty of these machines, there's track 1 playing. You heard the relays clicks. These are relay protected output stages, along with the really nice audio capacitors. But anyway, beauty of this machine and the 1200 is, if you want to go to the last track, if we've got 15 tracks, there you go, it's playing it straight away, because there's no cogs or anything on this. It's all magnetic floating head, and that's why these machines are so sought after. Just to show you again, we're on track 15, the last track on the disc. And there we go, track 1 is playing already. I'll just show you on here how quick it just slows down. You can't hear anything. There's no or anything like that. Well, yeah, absolutely beautiful machines these, once they're restored and up and running, which is why I like working on them so much. So I'll just give you a quick overview of the things that I'll do with this machine. We'll just power it down before I show anything else. As I said, there's no gears or anything. So all you do on these, give them a good clean and then a slight lubrication, so just to help them slide, because the better they can slide, the quicker they'll find where they need to be in focus. Obviously a quick clean of the lens. Underneath these 2 screws here is the actual magnet that drives everything, and it's also a feedback sensor. So you just take that off. Underneath you can probably just see there the top of the bar, and there's the coil, and all that does is just slide up and down with increased voltage. Just give that a quick clean, remove any carbon and dust that's built up over the years. Clean your spindle, and that's it. You're good to go on these machines. They, you know, as I said, they are very nice. You don't usually have capacitors fail on the main board because they use good quality capacitors for their age. The only things really sometimes fail on these are the relays, and obviously things like, you know, switching transistors. But it's quite rare that happens. The power supplies are, you know, pretty well made as well. So especially on these, because this one is actually quite a rare one. It's a split voltage. That means that you can adjust it. It's currently set for UK, which where I'm, which is, when these were released, 240 volts, but we were 220 these days. But you can adjust it. I'll just spin it round. You can actually change this machine between 220, 127. There you go, 110 for US, 127 which I think is Asia, 220 which was Europe, but everyone including the UK now, and 240 volt. So it's quite a rare machine because they usually have 110 or 240, etc. So yeah, one of my favourite machines to work on. And this one is in really nice condition. Once I've finished cleaning it up, I'll be popping it up on my eBay website, and on eBay, sorry, and on my normal website. But if you come across one of these machines and it's not working, then that's the main reason why it doesn't read discs.